So the Sufi mystic Hafiz once wrote, beautiful reading, "You're invited to meet the divine. No one can resist a divine invitation. And that narrows all our choices to just two. You can come to the divine dressed for dancing, or you can be carried on a stretcher to God's ward." And that's a quote we're going to be using throughout the rest of this month and actually into part of August. So it seems appropriate that we spend a few moments unpacking what it means, what that quote really means. So I'm just going to take it apart a little bit so we can move on to this meaty, it's a very rich, I think, full talk this morning. So you're invited to meet the divine, the first line in it. You are being called. You are being called to express more of God as you, through you. You are constantly being invited to a higher, freer, fuller, expanded version of life itself as you. Life itself is breathing each and every one of us. The invitation shows up in our lives either as an inner urging for more expression or a discontent, a dissatisfaction with where you are now. And then they can't resist the invitation. Either your inner urging for more expression or your discontent, dissatisfaction with where you are right now will have its way with you. That's the way it works. We know about the law. We speak of the law all of the time, and we will continue because it is how we create through this law. You can't stop it. You can't resist it. You are always at choice. We are always at choice. You can come dressed for dancing, which we like. You can show up fully prepared to do whatever it takes to answer the call or the desire or your discontent, your choice. You can be carried out on a stretcher. You can resist the call of the desire or get mirrored down in the discontent and agree to a life of struggle. Your choice. So I don't know about anyone here, any of you here, but I would rather take that divine invitation and dress up for dancing. How about? Yeah. Yes. I think so. Good, because each week then, and maybe we will have some dancing in them. You never know. As the divine inspiration comes through, you know, and make those phone calls to the musicians of the day before the talk. So who knows? But in another way, we will consciously activate, and we will consciously, actively, deliberately, purposefully, and intentionally answer the call to the fullest, living the fullest, freest life that we can. Whether it comes as a desire or whether it comes as that discontent. So this morning I want to expand on and deepen into some concepts that we've spoken of before, and they are the four stages of the idea, not the four, the idea of spiritual evolution. And it's a series that's of 4 stages, but today's talk is the 3rd way, and you'll see why at the end of the talk. So the first stage of spiritual evolution then happens by me. So you might be familiar with it. It happens by me, yeah. So there is a universal law that responds to each of our consciousness, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're speaking. And this is what that stage is. I am a creative being, so I can make things happen. Powerful, important. This is a very powerful and important stage. It's usually our first stage of being, and we're moving into a place, well, you know what? I forgot about the first stage. That's the second stage. So let me go back to the first stage, because the first, I knew that wasn't right. The first stage is the victim consciousness stage. It is why me? Why me? You ever find yourself in that place where things are going on and you don't know how they happen, and you say to yourself, why me? Why me, God? Why hast thou forsaken me? That's the first stage, that victim consciousness stage. It's not the stage we want to stay in, but we're all in and out of all four of these stages at any one time. Just know that. So you're not doing anything wrong. We're having this human experience. We know that. And then so the second stage is the one that's by me. And that's where we start to wake up and realize that there is a law that we can direct, that we are powerful creators of our lives when we know exactly what we want and follow that insight. We can make things happen. We can make things happen by using the law. That's what we talk about in our foundation class. It's all about the creative process and how our thought goes into the law and becomes the effect, much as the seed in the soil becomes the plant. That's the creative, that's the law of attraction. For all the people that saw that movie many years ago, The Secret. So that's the second stage of spiritual evolution. The third is through me. The Father within doeth the work. That is when we really flow into that, knowing that there's a power for good within each and every one of us. And that we're not alone. We don't need physical bodies around, although it's kind of nice, I think. But there is, even when we appear to be by ourselves, there is that Father within, that essence within each and every one of us that is there as our sacred companion and directing us when we listen. Then we have the fourth stage, as me, I am one with God, and that's the stage that many mystics, Jesus, Buddha, all of these sacred ones had that where it's just, and Emma Curtis Hopkins, who we will be studying in our Roots class, which we have going on right now, it's a really great class, is a mystic. So the concepts of these stages came forth a few years ago, and they're still spot on. If you think about them, they really are. It's like truth doesn't change. And they're kind of like, we're trying to understand that which is beyond our understanding. We're trying to understand the great I am that we are all a part of. So many years ago, after these stages were articulated like that, I learned of another way that we can also look at them. So the mortal, our human self, the first stage, equating with the why me, the metaphysician, by me, which is what we are here, the mystic, when we get into that stage, usually in meditation or somewhere where we're really just allowing the power and the essence and the beauty of the divine to move through us, and the master, as we. So some stages are labeled differently, but I think they're very descriptive. So today we're going to take an ever so brief look at the first stage, and then a little bit more for the other three stages, because this is really how we manifest what we really want in our lives, and why it looks like sometimes things don't show up. And it looks like that sometimes. So before talking about then how to dress for dancing, to answer that divine invitation, don't you love that? Divine, and you are divinely invited to participate in life. I love that. Anyway, by exploring how we show up, or we can be on the stretcher. I mean, you can either dance or just go like flat out. That's your choice. There's some stuff in between, but the why me stage, as we talked about a little bit before, is that victim stage. This is the stage where when we're in the condition and life feels like such a struggle, it feels so difficult to even carry on. And, great compassion, we've all been there. Have we not? Yes. Yes, we've all been there. We're having this, like I say, this human experience. You feel powerless. You feel like a victim of circumstance. And you see how life has failed you in your mind. Things are constantly being done to you. We've had those thoughts. When we're in that stage of why me, or that mortal self, we believe that the circumstances we find ourselves in, every relationship, every failure, every challenge is because of what life has done to us. And so that's that first stage. When we encounter challenges, problems, pain, we look outward. We look outside. And we spend a lot of time in crisis consciousness, not Christ consciousness. You repeat that. I love that. We spend a lot of time in crisis consciousness. And Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, religious science, talks about Christ consciousness that is within each and every one of us. So that's the first stage. It's a perfect way to know that you're in this stage. It's accompanied by quite a bit of noise, by a lot of drama and complaining, and back of your hand usually Velcro to your forehead, so you get that? Anyone ever recognize that? Oh my God, you said. I don't know about you. Let me take it back. But I am completely and totally done with that stage, even though it keeps popping up again and the Velcro goes back again, you know. We remember, and you'll see how. So let's do this. Everybody, let's do this. We're wiping our hands, completely wiping our hands and shaking it off, and repeat after me. No.
No.
No. No, I'm not doing this anymore. No, I'm not doing this anymore. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that.
Got the T-shirt.
Got the T-shirt.
And I'm ready to move on permanently. Take another breath and breathe that in. So let's move on to that second stage. Let's get out of that victim consciousness. Even if it's, you know, we only have this now moment. So in this now moment, we're in a we've unvelcroed, if you will, the hand from the forehead. So let's move on to the second, third, and fourth stages in our evolutionary process and see how they're related to being dressed up for dancing to answer this divine invitation. So this stage of by me is the metaphysical stage. It's the stage of empowering. It's like when we first learn about how to use these spiritual truths that we talk about every week. That's why these classes are so important, is because they teach us tools on how to use what we keep reading about over and over again, and possibly are not implementing. That's why it's practical spirituality. It's something we can use to create in our lives. So in this stage, we identify with our visions, with our dreams, with our goals. We are in touch with our desires and our divine discontent. Not in a whiny or a mortal way, but in a way of realizing that we are called to do something so much more than we realize we have the ability to even accomplish. We don't even know what's inside of us. It's pretty amazing. But when that seed, we came into this incarnation implanted with a desire in our soul. We each have it. No one got left out. So this is the stage where we're definitely going to put our dancing shoes on. Spirit, the divine, has planted this vision in you, and that's why you crafted it. That's why you're longing for it. Don't you sometimes feel this longing in your heart, and if you don't identify, you don't even know what it is. It's that gift, that vision, that jewel within you that is calling you to become more, to become more, to be more. So here's a very, very cool thought. By the time you actually become consciously aware of the vision, it is already an echo in the universal longing to express and experience itself in this way as and through you. It's already done. You came in with it. Moving on to becoming something more. The great I am, the infinite divinity, is always becoming more of what it is, this divine energy. It is not a man sitting on a throne somewhere judging us. There is no judgment in these teachings. There is no judgment in the mind of the divine, or else it would be in opposition to itself. So the very life energy that is moving in the entire universe and that is breathing you and called you into being has given you an idea of a greater life and is now leaning on you, urging you forward. urging you forward. Just like life whispers to a blade of grass, press through the cement and be the best blade of grass you can be. Or it says to the oak tree, press through that acorn shell and become the greatest oak tree that you can be. So life is whispering to you and me, press through those barriers and restrictions and be all that you can be. Do all that you can do. Don't let those barriers, those limitations hold you back from expressing, stepping out into that divine dance of life. In the absence of you leaning into your vision, our world is a lesser place. It is not as great as when you live the vision. The liberation of life in you delights in the most wondrous, wondrous things. You light up. Everything lights up around you. And you ever notice that when you're in, as we call it, the flow of life, things seem so much easier? There is so much more enthusiasm and joy because you're in harmony with your true self, the essence of the divine. You're in harmony with it. You become a blessing to everyone you come in contact with. It's a beautiful thing. You can feel it. You know it. So in this stage, we tap into that vision and we begin to learn and to use the law of mind in a way to demonstrate a more expanded life. We create a mental pattern, which Ernest Holmes calls a mental equivalent, which is all of the pictures that we put into that law of cause and effect, the laws, the immutable laws of the universe, the laws of God itself. Pictures, feelings, words, writings, all of it. All of it. For this life, we're manifesting. We're manifesting what we're feeling, consciously or unconsciously. We're still manifesting. And here's where the conversation gets a little deeper than the by me or metaphysician conversations we've had in the past. And it comes from the work of a modern mystic, author, speaker, teacher. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Gay Hendricks. And he talks about the Newtonian way of being. To go there, we must become aware of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When we launch an intention, as we did, hopefully you did, as I did during the oneness blessings, we launch this intention to answer the divine invitation, to express God more fully through us, as us. And it might bring up, the minute you start doing this kind of work, it brings up those old beliefs right in your face. It brings them up so you can see them, acknowledge them, and be done with them. Let them go. So we must become willing. We got to be willing to clear and let go of those limiting beliefs that are in the way. They're in the way of our creating, our dreams, our visions. They're just beliefs, but we think they're real. At the by me stage, we use visualization, we use affirmations. All of these are powerful tools to bring up, to clear out the invisible barriers. Because we can't see them, like we can't see thought. We can feel though. We can feel, and I go by, does this feel right? Does this feel right? Doesn't always feel good, because change sometimes doesn't feel that good. Or you go with mine, just puts up a big storm about that. But when the divine intention is set, when you really know and you follow your heart, it just ways become open that you might never have imagined. In fact, you couldn't plan them for yourself. You're activating divinity. You're activating the universe. Remember, the universe conspires to bring to us our good. So at this stage, we also know the importance of releasing that dream, that desire, with the intention that it's going to come in the right way, in the right time. How many of us get stuck in that time thing? Okay, where is it? It's not happening. So certainly this is our final step in spiritual mind treatment, as you heard Carol Mayo. I always want to follow Reverend Carol Mayo. And you heard Carol Mayo do. She released the word into the law of the divine mind. She released it. It's already done. Knowing it is done. Everything in this stage is vitally important in our spiritual evolution. Moving forward, we're becoming more. We're becoming. We're not stagnant, right? There's no stagnation in God. There's no stagnation in what we describe as the universal flow of life. But it isn't the final answer. And why do I say this? Why do I say this? Well, there's proof in the results. And so remember Ernest Holmes' words in the conclusion. I have two parts of the conclusion, part of it now, of the Science of Mind book. I would rather see a student of this science prove its principles than to have him repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. I love that. I've been reading that for years. It's so good. It's so good. And sometimes we do all of this so perfectly. At least we think so. We're doing our spiritual mind treatment. We're doing our meditation. We're doing our affirmations. We are doing it all. And what sets in when we don't see the manifestation? Great disappointment. Great discouragement. Even disillusionment. Perhaps we say, this stuff doesn't work. This stuff doesn't work. Or, I've heard this one a lot. This stuff doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I tried it. It doesn't work. Well, what's your ultimate or opposing choice there? Just be in the first stage, the why me stage. When you get into the second and third stages, there's responsibility. And that's what it's going to come down to. As much as we try to get away from the responsibility, it's going to show up as the conditions and effects in our lives. No way around it. I've tried. It doesn't work. It's because we haven't gone far enough. We haven't gone far enough. There's two ways of being. So the third stage is through me, or the mystic, or in Gay Hendricks' language, the Einsteinian stage. The metaphysical or through me stage of our evolution of consciousness is a place where we surrender more, where we let go more, and there's always more to let go of. You ever noticed that? It's like we say, I said this years ago, the universe is limitless in opportunities. I also feel sometimes like it is limitless in these beliefs. Like, how many more do I have to go through? It's like, but we just keep doing the work. We keep clearing and we become lighter and lighter. We become lighter. We become more open to the divine inspiration within us. And so we desire just to be an open vessel for God, where we realize that there is something bigger than our finite, remember we're finite, our finite humanness in operation. For me, it's very inspiring to know that there's something greater than me. And all of the stuff that I've decided upon in life, just to know that there is a power that is eternal, that is the true essence of who I am. And it's the same for everyone. There's a power within each and every one. So the mystical or the through me stage of our evolution of consciousness is a place where we surrender more and more, where we desire simply to be that open vessel, where we realize that something so much bigger than our humanness is operating. It's a place of our evolution. It is a place of our evolution where we recognize the power of the words in the Beatles song, All You Need Is Love. I mean, there's some really great songs for all you, I know there's a few over there, I'm sure, in the whole room. Into lyrics of these songs. So all there is love, or the song Love is the Answer. There's so many. So many. Hendricks calls it the Einstein stage because it's based upon Einstein's law of attraction. No, law of vibration. Law of vibration. We vibrate. We're pure energy, right? We all know this, right? Everything that looks stagnant, we know it's vibrating, it's alive. So in the year 1905, Albert Einstein proved that we can break matter down into small components, and that when we do, We move beyond the material realm and into the realm in which everything is energy. This is the law of vibration, a law of nature that states that nothing rests, everything moves, everything is moving. And the lower the vibration, the slower the movement. The higher the vibration, the faster the movement. The difference in the various manifestations in our physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional world occur because of the different levels of vibrating frequencies within us. Where are we coming from? Feelings of fear, anger, resentment, victimhood, etc. They all vibrate at that very low level. While feelings of joy, gratitude, and love vibrate at a high frequency. We know this, we've read this, we've studied this, but are we applying it in our lives? At this stage, when something doesn't turn out like the way we think it should, rather than hanging out in that place of great disappointment, disillusionment, this stuff doesn't work attitude, which is the low vibration, we are willing to look closely at what our results are and to love ourselves in the middle of not liking the results. Can you get that? It is the calm in the middle of the chaos. To really, this is why it's the third stage, because it's challenging. Stuff is going on. Can we be at peace with it? Can we love it while it's going on? To love that circumstance, that would be a really high manifesting vibration. When we love it the way it is, and the Byron Katie work in the book is called Loving What Is for a Reason. There's no way around that. We will become willing to get the message or the lesson from the results of the current vibration, of the current experience that we're in. When we stop and just know that this doesn't feel good, I don't like this experience, but, however, it is happening for a lesson for me to learn. And this is what we all, as a community, have been moving toward, and keep moving toward it, and then get to the place where we actually love it. That's, you can see why that would be a higher vibration. The results will always tell us our unconscious intention. I'm going to repeat that again, because it's a game-changing concept. Our results, what's going on in our lives, will always tell us our unconscious intention. Talk about full responsibility. The moment something isn't working, that's what needs to be embraced and loved. Something is creating the results we don't want. Something's creating them. And the experience is found the key to what that is. The reason it's not working, because there's an interior clog somewhere. Can't keep blaming others. Have you noticed that when you've left that situation and you've been blaming that same person and you've removed yourself from that, and the feelings are still there. The same creations are still there. It's an interior clog. A key moment is to love what is, which says, I'm willing to get the message. This will tell me where my conscious intention, my unconscious intention is. So when we do this, when we practice this, when we practice looking for the lesson to this, we're opening up wide to the treasure trove and the meaning of it all. We'll get the answer. The universe always supplies the answer. It comes in with the question. It comes in with it. But we have to be open to receive it. And when we love the experience or the fear, even the fear, to really accept that fear, it's really a step to love it. But love the unconscious intention. The problem seems to dissolve instead of having to be solved. it dissolves. We say in our prayer work, let this entire circumstance dissolve back into the nothingness from which it came. I mean, we say that. That's what it means. And isn't this allowing God, the divine, whatever you want to call this power, to express through us? Isn't that the third level of evolution in consciousness, the through me, the mystic? God, the infinite power of love, holds no judgment or unhappiness or disappointment. None of this is in the mind of the divine, but we've been given the gift of choice. God just accepts and loves unconditionally. We are each a child of the divine, and we are loved unconditionally. And if this isn't powerful enough, there is still another way. And we've called it the as-me, or the master stage, the fourth step. Hendricks calls it the third way. This is the third way. We've often looked at this stage. We've often looked at this stage as not attainable by us. This is only for people like Buddha and Jesus and the great mystics that have lived. That's not for me. So there is one. This is not a stage just simply. We can get glimmers of this. A stage reserved for those sacred people who have walked this earth, who have truly walked this earth. But I love the way that Hendricks speaks about it. He suggests in this stage that we deepen into the realization and then let it be okay that we are actually the source of our experience. We are the source of our own experiences. We always go to God as the source. We talk about that, and that's the absolute truth. Many channels, one source, but we're the source of our experiences. We acknowledge our sourceness. To acknowledge that sourceness, Hendricks suggests statements like this. So we're going to try them on for size, because I know this is kind of a long talk, but there's so much. That's why I said there's so much meatiness. There's so much in it for us to get and to keep getting. So repeat after me. You're trying this on for size.
Trying this on.
I make up my life.
I make up my life.
I am where my life comes.
I am where my life comes.
I am the source of my good.
I am the source of my good.
I am the source of time.
I am the source of time.
I am the source of love.
I am the source of love.
And that is the truth. You don't have to repeat that, but that is the truth. I love it. Say anything. This is deep work. There really is a lot of depth to doing this work, but the rewards are so great. We're stepping into the truth of oneness that we talk about when we know that this power is through us, as us. Wow. If God is the source of all, and if I am God, then I am the source of all in my life as well. We can't argue with that logic. We can't. We can. You can argue with whatever you want, but I choose to believe, as Ernest Holmes so powerfully taught, that we are part of this great oneness of life. So we are microcosms of that great macrocosm of life. So therefore we create in a smaller way than the great I am. At this stage, we move through life with an agreement that we are all in the right place at the right time. And to do this, we must get as comfortable as we can being right where we are, no matter what is taking place. And that's our challenge. Whoa, that's our challenge, to be comfortable. It's easy to be comfortable when everything's flowing, everything feels good. But when stuff's going on and every old belief is getting triggered, to then look for the lesson and love what is. So Holmes' final words in the final conclusion of Science of Mind, and then I'm going to close with a very short little thing. He wrote, "The essence of spiritual mind healing and of all true religious philosophy is an inner realization of the presence of perfection within and round about. It is the hope of heaven, the voice of God, proclaiming, 'I am the which thou art.' Thou art which I am. And that is the third way. That is the third way. Living as the source. Living as the source. It takes a huge shift, or it could be a small shift for you, in awareness. Shifts it a little. An intentional focus, though. It's an intentional focus. As we, each and every one of us, can do this absolutely any time that we choose. We can do this, and that is the dancing part of dancing with the divine. And so I'm going to end this talk this morning with this little poem, and it was written by M. Clare, who happens to be Neil Donald Walsh's wife, and it goes like this. I am that I am, and so much more. The light, the sound, the living God on the ground. I could show you every feather in the wing, every color and hue, every beautiful thing. But I am that I am wants to love whoever has not yet had it, whatever has not yet known it, however life's not yet done it. There is still so much loving yet to be found, just living